So as we talked about the other week, Johnny Depp got backhanded by pretty much everyone in the judicial system all at the same time by losing his case to Amber Heard after she literally spent an hour giving a manifesto and then saying that nobody would believe him anyway, and then that also got out, and lo and behold, even though all of that was available, he still lost. So now, there is a petition, after he's now stepped down from Fantastic Beasts, which we also discussed. Don't watch that. For God's sake, don't do it. There's a petition now to have, on change.org, to have Amber Heard removed from Aquaman 2. And it's garnered a bit of traction, Mr. Black. As it turns out, there's a lot of people not particularly thrilled with Amber Heard. And that's not surprising because, as we found out, bitch crazy. 1.5 million people, roughly, right now, up to this point, have signed that petition on change.org to have her removed from Aquaman 2. Now, as a movie studio, you have to look at that 1.5 million people, and you have to think about a couple things. One, not just anyone goes through the pain and suffering of going to a change.org link and going ahead and putting their name on a fucking petition. Not everyone does that shit. No matter how angry they are on social media, not everyone does that shit. So, if 1.5 million people have done it, bro, how many does that 1.5 million people actually represent among the population that know at least the people that know about what's been going on with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Which I'm going to assume, honestly, is probably a lot of people. It's probably been on, at this point, most news stations have covered it at least once. Anyone that's, the usual, they do nothing but watch E-Talk here in Canada until they're like fucking old and gray. A lot of people. So 1.5 million is probably not, it's fair to say that it could represent 10.5 million people. If you use the golden rule that we did for years, as far as like what it takes to get somebody to engage on a platform, even on YouTube, the simple act of liking the video, like clicking a button is all you have to do. You're already on the page. You don't have to click through anywhere. It's actually 3 millimeters underneath the bottom of the video. All you have to do is press that like button, and you still only get roughly 1 in 10. Even if you prompt them to do it, 1 in 10. That's a relatively decent rule that has been accurate for us for over a decade. Almost. Well, yeah, over a decade now, not by much, but over a decade. In this space. So I would hazard a guess that the 1.5 million change.org petition writers could actually represent 5, 6, 7 times or more the actual people who would want Amber Heard removed from the movie. Do you think this will actually catch traction and get her removed from Aquaman 2?
No.
No?
Zero chance.
Zero chance.
Zero.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm any less disappointed, but I don't disagree.
The only, and I don't think it's a big enough of a stink. It isn't like, there's a bunch of change.org stuff. I mean,
It's not that change.org changes things, but it is a good indicator to get a rough idea of how many people are actually.
You think that there's 10 million people in the know about this? I give a fuck. I mean, there ain't even going to be 10 million people that are going to go see the goddamn movie. let alone, let
Come
alone.
on, man. Aquaman was pretty good. Don't do him dirty.
Good, but I mean, there ain't 10 million people going to be like, I ain't going to see this movie because fucking Amber Heard is in this. Or Amber Heard. I
Did you call her Amber Hearst?
I did.
How fucking apt is that?
I know. The way I look at it is this. I'm not a big fan of cancel culture.
Neither am I.
And this is what they're trying to do right now.
Yeah.
They're trying to cancel her.
Yeah.
And when I say they're trying to cancel her, it is I don't want to say a small group of people because it is a large amount of people, but in the grand scale, it's pretty small. And to be fair, just imagine if the studio heads fired her or removed her from this film. Can you imagine the blowback that the studio would get would be infinitely more than the other side, because the reality of it is she won in court. It was proven that she was innocent of what was said. And so what are you going to do? Are you going to take the side of the person that was the abuser, even though we both know there was abuse on both sides, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, whatever. There was abuse, all right? Johnny Depp ain't no saint either.
No, of course not.
Like, could you just imagine that the victim, right, and in the eyes of the public court, right, the court system, she gets acquitted of what she's been accused of, and she wins, and then the studio goes, "Oh, hey, you're fired." Can you imagine? She would sue them so fucking hard, and she would win. If she can win this,
that'd be an easy win.
Oh, it'd be they may as well just. This is the only way she gets removed. The only way is if they go, "Hey, behind the scenes, hey, listen, we know that you're innocent. We're not saying that you're guilty at all. There's a lot of heat simply from the situation. What we're willing to do is we're willing to pay you on your contract and give you X amount of dollars to just walk away from it. Publicly come out and say, listen, I'm in emotional distress. We need to start filming here in 6 months. I mentally can't do it. The studio, is on a schedule. I'm going to just back out from my own mental stability, and play it off and do the PR shit, and then take a massive paycheck in behind the scenes. And hey, we owe you. If it ever became such a huge shitstorm, it's not even there. And there is no way. Can you imagine every female that would go fucking ape shit crazy if she got fired after winning this?
It would be a whole bunch of females who are fans of Johnny Depp versus a whole bunch of females fans of Amber Heard clashing on the internet in a battle of the Karens.
I don't even think it'd be fans, bro. Just the Me Too movement in general. Just female power. No. How dare you? After a victim was abused physically and emotionally and went through all this drama and dealt with all this in the public eye, and she suffered, to then take the victim and then fire her from her job? Oh, bro, that'd be beyond fanboyum. And this would be a fucking shit show that the studio ain't touching with 150,000 foot pole. Now, with that being said, maybe they kill off the character. Maybe she's in it for one more film. Maybe she's contracted in to do 2, and she does these, and then the studios kind of take a step back for a little while, like I'm sure they're going to do with Johnny Depp, let things blow over, and then slowly reintroduce these actors into the world again. But at the end of the day, there ain't a fucking chance in hell. This signature, this .org change, that could have 10 million, 30 million signatures, and there ain't a fucking chance she's getting fired from anything. At the most, it's, hey, how would you like $8 million to say you're not feeling this? There's a lot of public pressure. You don't want to deal with it. And she walks away on her own accord under extreme NDA. You say anything, you're getting sued. And that's the show. That's the only way. And it ain't going to happen. So, no.
All I can say is that what I would have liked to have seen here is that I'm totally for the idea that it's unlikely that Johnny himself didn't also get abusive at points in the relationship. It's unlikely. It would have been nice to have the court case at least acknowledge the blatant and outright evidence. Like, you can't. How much more? You can't get better than the person admitting it. How much more clear cut do you get? And it wasn't even like it wasn't even like she was coerced by a good cop, bad cop routine to fucking admit it. She was just on tape with like a fucking therapist, like just laying it all out to bear. And it still didn't pass for the judge to go, all right, you know what? You're both fucked. And just...
Yeah, it might not have been admissible in court. Like, they might not have been able to use that. Like, you know, who knows? I didn't look into it deep enough to see. But the whole thing is fucked up. But she ain't going nowhere. Johnny Depp is going to suffer in terms of Hollywood for a while.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure he'll come back, you know, and reprise a role. And
Edward Scissorhands too.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, he'll be away for a few years, lick his wounds, and come back. But there is zero chance that Amber Heard is getting removed from anything. She might find it a little bit more challenging for the next like year or two to lock in new roles, but she's already in a big franchise, so you know she's gonna be busy for the next couple years anyway. So I mean.
Oh yeah, and just to clarify, this whole suit was against, I think it was like the Sun or whatever, it was the newspaper that labeled him as a wife beater. He was suing for libel, and that was the case. It wasn't him suing her directly in this instance for abuse or her saying that it was about the newspaper.